beautiful people, and welcome to my channel. I am Ebony Mbatani, and I do videos on sharing the beauty that the continent of Africa has to offer, specifically Tanzania, Zanzibar, and Eswatini. Right now I'm focusing on Tanzania and Zanzibar. Eswatini is to come. And if you're new here, first I want to say thank you for joining, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. If you're not new, hello there. I'm happy to see you here again. So today we are going to talk about the dress code in Tanzania, which can be a hot topic for a lot of women, especially if you are a fashionista like myself, where you love clothes and fashion and you kind of want to know, hey, can I still be myself while in a country that's more conservative than like the West? So I am here to answer some of those questions. Keep in mind, this is my perspective as a foreigner and as an American who has a Tanzanian husband whose family is Tanzania American. I've been going to Tanzania, as I mentioned in previous videos, since 2009. I've been in the culture for over 15 years. And I don't like to say that I speak Swahili because I'm not anywhere near that good at it, but I'm getting there. So anyways, let's get started. Let's talk about the dress code. I'm going to reference most of my examples to Dar es Salaam, and I say that because Dar es Salaam is the main hub and it's where most foreigners, expats reside. So once you get outside of Dar es Salaam, it's going to be even more conservative, and I'll address some of that here in a moment, but let's focus on just the main city where most people actually live when they are a foreigner or expat returning to Tanzania. So in general, yes, Tanzania is a more conservative country. The main religions are going to be Catholicism, and it's going to be the Muslim religion. So it is more conservative. Culturally, it's also more conservative as well, as in general most of the continent of Africa is. But in Dar es Salaam specifically, they are very accustomed to foreigners. They're very accustomed to tourists. So it's a little bit more lax in those areas. You're not going to have as much of an issue with your wardrobe as far as what you wear if you're out and about going to some of the main areas like Milimani City or Samaki, or if you go to the beach, or especially if you're in the expat areas like Oyster Bay and Mbezi Beach, like those type of areas, you're not really going to have a problem. Now, I say that to also say, you know, when in Rome, you do as a Roman. So, you know, you may not want to bust out in your most scandalous outfit in the country of Tanzania, but it is hot, you know, like it's hot. So it doesn't mean you can't wear your shorts. Of course, wear your shorts. I personally like to say my style is what I would call more sexy chic. So, you know, I'm not a fan of the really short shorts, mainly because it just doesn't complement my shape. But as you can see, I do like trends. I like to be trendy. I like to be cool and not sweat my clothes off. So yeah, I wear pretty much what I would wear in the US. I wear my bikinis on the beach, but those are also in the areas where they're very accustomed seeing foreigners and tourists. Now, let me get into this a little bit deeper and explain this other side of the foreigners and tourists and dress code. As a tourist, like I said, you or a foreigner or expat going to Tanzania, you're not going to have as much of an issue. However, there is going to be a distinct difference in your race. So if you're European or, you know, white, Caucasian, and you're there, they're just going to assume that you're a foreigner and that you don't live there and you're visiting. So there's not going to be really much of an issue in general. If you are of African ancestry, or you're black or African American, they are going to assume that you are a local person, that you are from there, and that you are there until, of course, you open your mouth. So if you, as a black person, if you go to the local market or you go to the fish market in Dar and you're wearing short shorts and a tank top, beware that, yes, somebody might say something to you. Now, do they have the fashion police there? No, not by any means. But yeah, some of the elders might end up saying something, snickering, you know, saying something to you because they feel that that's a little bit inappropriate. You might have some men that are, you know, catcalling or saying something to you because they feel that, you know, you're on display for them to see. So they're going to assume that you're just part of the local culture, and most local women do not go to the market dressed like that. I also want you to keep in mind that, you know, I try to be respectful of the culture. So for example, I'm not walking into a mass at a church or going to a mosque or a synagogue in tank top and short shorts or ripped jeans. You know, I'm respectful of what the rules and regulations are for that, you know, building or those people or that environment. So, you know, just be respectful. But can you dress how you want to? Absolutely. But you also need to keep in mind of where you're going. There are areas where that's much more acceptable, it's not an issue. And then there are areas where, you know, mainly the local, and you'll know the local areas where you just see local people, that someone might end up saying something to you. The most common thing that occurs is just going to be the staring. You know, they're just going to be like, staring is something that if you're not used to that, especially come from the West, you know, we're trained in the West that is very rude to stare at people. That is not something that is part of their social etiquette there. They will stare, they won't blink an eye at all, they will keep staring. It's just not something that's really part of the social norm there. Of course, if you're in the business environment, or if you're in the business sector, you probably won't see that near as much. But as you venture out into more of the local areas, that is something that you need to be aware of, especially if you are not dressed like a local, if you're dressed like a foreigner. And like I said, if you are of African descent or you look black, they're going to assume that you're a local and that you understand what is socially acceptable to wear. I have never felt uncomfortable. I'm very accustomed to the stares now. It doesn't bother me at all. It's just not an issue. When I'm in my bikini or in clothes that are more sexy chic, as I like to call it, I'm usually on the beach. I'm in an environment that it's acceptable, and there is not an issue. So just keep that in mind. Now let's move out a little bit to like Arusha or Mwanza or Kilimanjaro. So those areas, first of all, are going to be a lot cooler. So you will find yourself, yeah, there are certain times of the year that you can wear shorts, or you might want to wear clothing that's going to be more for the summer months, but the temperatures there are much cooler, so it's not going to be as much of an issue. But with that being said, it is further outside of the main hub. So the further you get outside the main hub, you know, the more traditional the social values are going to be. You're going to run into, you know, less people that are more accustomed to how foreigners dress and how you know, expatriates coming back from the West and may have adapted the Western style of dressing. You're going to run into those locals that are not as accustomed to it, so it's not as socially acceptable. Now, Arusha can be a little bit of exception because Arusha is the diplomatic hub, so they are very accustomed to foreigners there. However, again, if you're black, they're going to assume that you are local. So, you know, you run into that same issue. But it's going to be the further away you get from Dar es Salaam, the less socially acceptable it is, which is why a lot of people who are foreigners, they tend to stay in the Dar es Salaam area because it's just a lot easier to assimilate into the culture when you're in the hub of the country. Now, one area that you can have fashion freedom that I love when I'm there is when you go out at night. They have nightclubs, they have restaurants that you can go to at night that turn into a nightclub, and you see all type of dressing there. You see the girls in, you know, the sexy dresses, you see them in the sexy outfits. That is not a problem. It's expected. You'll fit right in. Not a problem. You go out, have a good time, have a good drink, hang out with your significant other or your girlfriends, whatever, your guy friends, whatever it may be. So there are areas where you can let loose and have fashion freedom. I would just say, you know, during the day, for example, depending on where you are, you just want to be a little bit more aware of what's socially acceptable, and it's very easy to figure that out in Tanzania. All you got to do is just look around at your environment and you'll see what's acceptable, what's not. One thing to keep in mind is the younger generation, they are definitely starting to step outside of the fashion norms, and you're seeing more and more of them taking fashion into their own hands and not adhering to the same traditional fashion trends that their parents did. So that's exciting to see. Tanzania has a good number of big celebrities, and those celebrities definitely do not dress like the local people, and I am here for it. Okay, they do not. I give them credit though. They keep the cultural, you see a lot of the cultural values in their dressing through their social media. Every once in a while you'll see them put on, you know, the traditional wear, but for the most part they show their sexy side. Ghanaians and Nigerians do a, I think, excellent job of mixing their fashion from their culture and putting a little Western twist on it. So that's what you see from a lot of celebrities in Tanzania. They are taking fashion from the West and they're putting an African or Tanzanian twist on it, which I think is amazing. Like I said, I'm here for it. I love it. So that gives you a little bit of insight on what to expect when you're trying to plan what to wear in Tanzania. Like I said, take your clothes that you would normally wear where you're from, and then also be willing to have the flexibility to adapt some of the local culture, you know, by wearing some Conga material or African dresses or African shirts that you can mix in with your jeans. I think that's the best way to approach it. So you can still be yourself no matter where I go in the world. Like I say, I'm still going to be Ebony, but I know there's a time and a place to wear certain things. And that's just the rule of thumb I use, and that's also the fashion rule I pass on to my children as well. Like, you can have your, you know, your fashion freedom, express yourself through your clothes, but there's a time and a place to wear certain things. And Tanzania definitely gives you an outlet to be yourself and to wear the things you want to wear under certain environments. So that is my tip for your wardrobe. Please leave comments, share, like, subscribe. Don't forget to do that. And like I said, there's a lot more in store coming from me. So until next time, guys, see you later.